Chattanooga because the commissioner at the time, or currently the commissioner, Don Garber, said nobody wants to go down to Chattanooga to play there in front of no fans. And they were like, wait a second, we have fans, we have a stadium, we have everything that we need. So I flew to Chattanooga to kind of do that. I got fired less than 2 weeks later. So, and they never ran the thing. And it was an amazing video. I wish we could see it now. But so I'm open. I want that inclusivity. I want everybody to have a chance. And so now we're going to see a model from what I understand of the Super League. Obviously, we're still learning a lot about the whole thing, but it's going to look probably similar to the MLS structure, which is very similar to the NFL structure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's anything, especially the people that are pro Super League, should feel good about knowing this structure? Because there are some benefits to it. I'm not going to say that there isn't, but it does take away from that romanticism of having a team come from nowhere and actually win.
Yeah. So just to take the other side of it, which I should say is not necessarily my side, but I'm going to argue the other side of it for a second, which is that, so you're basically looking at, from what we know right now, it appears that 15 of the 20 teams are going to be permanent residents, let's call them, of this Super League. And that leaves, by the math, obviously 5 teams that are going to be involved in some sort of, I would assume, qualifier. It seems like details are obviously a little thin right now, but that's the math, the way it looks at right now. So of course you are going to have, I guess, and if the purse, let's put it this way, if the purse is large enough, and certainly it looks like there's a lot of money going to be at least thrown out front, 3.5 billion, as we said, euros being split between the 15 founding teams. If the purse is large enough, there is then a chance for some of these stories of, depending on how this qualification works, maybe there's an FA Cup or US Open Cup style run where a team like from Chattanooga can make it into the Super League championship, whatever they're going to call it, and play through and win a giant purse or play against some monsters and take them down or something. The potential for that story is definitely there, but you have to look at, I think, to be realistic, the opportunity cost of that, because I don't think that it's realistic that we're going to see, again, the way that they're slanting this, if I have to assume they're taking this from an MLS style perspective, which is going to be focused very much on a closed circle. If you're like, well, we want in our league, Manchester City, Chelsea, Tottenham, these giant global teams, Juventus, Inter, we want these teams to be in this league. It seems unlikely that you're going to create a path for a Nottingham Forest to be invited into that league. It's unlikely you're going to create a path for even maybe like a West Ham to be invited into that league. It seems like what is more likely is they're going to create some fairly high threshold for entry, whether it's, overall finances or something probably ridiculous, to be honest, to bring teams, those other 5 teams in. Now, what are the advantages of it, having watched the MLS? Obviously, the league structure is significantly more stable. You don't have to worry about teams leaving the league at any particular point. You get to have those same teams. You can market those teams as a unit, as a block, the same way the NFL does. You can use all their players in your promotion. You can use all the teams in the promotion without having to worry about, from year to year, that roster of teams really changing. And that is a powerful marketing force. We've seen it work extremely well for the NFL. We've seen it work, to a lesser degree for MLS. And it definitely works. I mean, it works because, closed circuit capitalism works. I mean, there's no really other way about it. So, the argument I would say would be stability and being able to sort of anticipate what teams you're going to root for. And I would liken it to sort of being, a kind of a March Madness style tournament where what teams are going to be in from January 1st, rather than waiting for March to actually happen. So, it'll help them a lot with promotion. It'll help them a lot with marketing. It'll help them a lot with, bringing, I think, casual fans in. I mean, there's no question that this is an attractive proposition for casual fans. I made the comment, someone said, this is an MLS style thing. And I was like, well, yeah, maybe they'll get Americans to watch now that they have an MLS style thing running in Europe. And I was only half joking. I mean, I think it's something you can, you'll be able to relate to as a casual American fan. And if that's their objective, if their objective is to get those people, then I think they're going the right way. But that cuts off, you just can't say that without acknowledging that it cuts off a massive part of the global soccer audience and global soccer participants, which I think are vitally important to consider. And I think what also fuels the anger, and this is the last thing I'll say, because just like Adam, I've talked a lot and I appreciate obviously the venue. And I'm a soccer fan, even though a football fan, even though I'm an American and I say soccer, I really believe in football as a sport. And I think that most of us see football as a very socialized sport. We see it as something that is, there's equality, there's opportunity, there's a consideration, there's a lot of, fair play. And obviously there are some darker sides to soccer. We've dealt with racism a lot through its history and even more so kind of now. But the view largely is that it seems to be kind of a socialist endeavor. And this being sort of a very clear, hard capitalist play, I think is just going to really be hard for people to deal with philosophically, because we don't see those two philosophies mesh. Publicly, we don't see that happen. Obviously, behind the scenes, it's been all money for at least the last 2 decades. But we haven't seen that really come out quite as strong to the fore as it has now in the last 24 hours. And I think a lot of people are kind of dealing with the shock of seeing the sport that they love, having this underbelly of capitalism exposed, and that's really hard. I mean, you got